Hey guys, I'm Randy, your local realtor and 40-year resident here in Las Vegas. Every day I see news headlines that predict catastrophe in real estate and have conversations doing my best to explain to people the real truth, not the BS in the media or hysteria of those thinking, here we go again. The only people who have been consistently wrong are the media and 80% of real estate agents who really have no idea what is really going on. Before we dive in, if you would like to book a phone call with me to discuss any questions, your plans, or selling your house, click the link below. You get access to my online calendar. You can select a day and time at your convenience, and I'm happy to help out in any way possible. Now, look at this dumb shit. National home prices have further to fall, say 24 leading housing market researchers, while 5 firms think prices have bottomed. Next, experts bash Goldman Sachs' prediction of a 2008 level housing crash. There was a New York Post article that reporting that Goldman Sachs has forecast a 2008 level housing crash in Phoenix sent ripples through the valley's real estate industry, while local experts called the report hyperbolic, misleading, and a disservice that I got from Axios reporting. This is so not the reality of what's going on and not what anybody else expects to happen this year, 2023. Next, Zillow says home price correction is winding down. Here's what 28 other forecast models have to say. I mean, how could most decipher all of this silly clickbait garbage? So let's look at a couple of fundamental factors that have dominated the news for the past 6 months. First, recession is coming. Well, as of mid-March 2023, there's no recession. U.S. reports blowout job growth and unemployment is the lowest since 1969. The unemployment rate actually hit more than a 53.5-year low of 3.4%, pointing to a stubbornly tight labor market and a potential headache for the Federal Reserve officials as they fight inflation. The Labor Department's closely watched employment report on Friday also showed job creation in the past year was much stronger than previously estimated, suggesting that the economy was nowhere near recession. So what is the history of home prices during a recession, if one actually happened? Well, home prices have actually increased during every recession over the last 70 years except the Great Recession, which was a result of a once in 100 years complete economic collapse in the country and the world. And we're nowhere close to recession as of the time of this video. A primary factor leading to the Great Recession was that there were almost no lending standards. And now you'll see dumb, just ridiculous headlines like foreclosures are up 300%. And that figure is based off of near zero during COVID, and a majority of defaults today are due to death and hurricanes. Yes, when people die or a house is destroyed, most mortgages stop being paid. Serious delinquency rates, which skyrocketed after 2006 and led to 6 million foreclosures, have fallen by nearly half just in the last year to less than 0.7% of mortgages, according to Fannie Mae. Among the 223 metropolitan statistical areas with a population of at least 200,000, those with the highest foreclosure rates in February 2023 were Fayetteville, North Carolina, Atlantic City, Florence, South Carolina, Jacksonville, and Cleveland, Ohio. The graph uses data from the Mortgage Bankers Association. In this index, the higher the number, the easier it is to get a mortgage. The lower the number, the harder it is. This graph also shows just how different things are today compared to the spike in credit availability leading up to the crash. Tighter lending standards have helped prevent a situation that could lead to a wave of foreclosures like the last time. Another big difference is the number of homeowners that were facing foreclosure when the housing bubble burst. Foreclosure activity has been lower since the crash, mostly because buyers today are more qualified and less likely to default on their loans. The graph uses data from Adam to show the difference between last time and now. So even as foreclosures tick up, the number is still very low, and on top of that, most experts don't expect foreclosures to go up drastically like they did. Bill McBride, founder of Calculated Risk, explains, The impact a large increase in foreclosures had on home prices back then, and how that's unlikely this time, is that the bottom line is there will be an increase in foreclosures over the next year from record low levels, but there will not be a huge wave of distressed sales as happened following the housing bubble. The distressed sales during the housing bust led to cascading price declines, and that will not happen this time. The supply of homes for sale today is more limited, and there were actually over 21,000 homes for sale here in Las Vegas during the housing crisis. Most of those were short sales and foreclosures, and that caused prices to fall dramatically. Supply has increased since the start of this year, 2023, but there's still a historic shortage of inventory, primarily due to years of underbuilding homes, and there have been less homes built in the last decade than any decade since the 60s. The graph, another graph, uses data from the National Association of Realtors to show how the month's supply of homes available now compares to the crash. Today, unsold inventory sits at around 3 months supply here in Las Vegas, which is under 6,000 homes, which is a fraction of where we were 14 years ago. There just isn't enough inventory on the market for home prices to come crashing down like they did that time. Buyers continue to outpace sellers, and inventory keeps falling. Sellers simply aren't keeping up with the demand. The national inventory of single-family homes fell by 2.5% just this last week to 418,000, which is the fewest homes for sale that we've had since last June. Look at this decline in inventory. Few homes for sale and few new listings coming to market created stability in prices. 60,000 fewer homes on the market today than just a few months ago, New Year's weekend. The driving factor behind the decline in inventory is reduced listings, which are coming on the market at historic low levels. Consumers are obviously price sensitive, but they are still buying, and the price of new listings is $390,000 versus $399 a year ago. The median home price is $425,000. So you should start to see the headlines agree on negative annual home price appreciation in the next few months. They're always a few months behind. So the result is, with sellers refusing to cut their prices, fewer homes being sold. The number of closed sales currently is the lowest in over a decade, and homes for sale remain at the lowest ever, other than during the pandemic period, nearly half of the normal historic levels. Mark Stapp, executive director of the Master of Real Estate Development at ASU, said the growth in 2021 and early 2022 was an anomaly and unsustainable. Interest rate hikes have forced the market back into a healthier, more balanced place, and the CEO of real estate developer Howard Hughes, David O'Reilly, in an interview with CNN, said that he's not worried at all about another housing market crash, and explains why. We probably are technically in a housing recession, he said, referring to a term used to describe the decline in overall home sales for at least 6 months. We are clearly in a downturn, but this is much different. O'Reilly said that in the years leading up to 2008, collapses of Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, and Washington Mutual, and others, there was a glut of new homes that had been built that just came on the market. We had a massive oversupply when Lehman hit the wall. He also said, but housing starts now have significantly trailed formations. That means the number of Americans that could buy a home, formations, exceeds the number of new homes starts coming to market. So demand outstrips supply, and that makes prices unlikely to fall off a cliff like they did in 2008. There was a housing shortage of around 5 million homes before the onset of the pandemic. That shortage is not going away anytime soon, said Lawrence Yun, chief economist with National Association of Realtors, that they put out in a report just last month. In a recent article, online housing marketplace Zillow now expects prices to rise slightly in 2023. No bust, but a standoff between buyers and sellers instead of a price bust like the one after the mid-2000s housing bubble. So what's developing is a standoff, says Logan Motoshami, lead analyst for Housing Wire. On the one hand are buyers who would like to homes to be affordable as they were in 2019, but a big share of them either have to move or can afford to despite higher prices and rates. On the other hand, are sellers under no pressure to move since they have cheap mortgages and plenty of equity for now. So far, sellers are hanging tough in most cities, and even small increases in demand can keep prices firm or move them higher because inventory is so tight. Unemployment is the lowest it's been in 54 years, letting homeowners either trade up or hang on to their current homes easily. And if they are among the 85% of owners whose mortgages carry interest rates below 5%, many will stay put rather than buy a more expensive house with a costlier loan. All that means the supply of homes for sale is likely to stay tight, which limits price declines. The market standstill is likely to last for months at least because its main underpinnings aren't going anywhere, and sellers will continue to have the advantage of being equity rich and sitting on a low interest rate from 2021 or before. Some buyers will remain priced out of the market or able to afford less house than they want. And I recall door knocking around a listing of mine a few years ago, 2020, looking for a buyer. One guy told me that he was waiting for the crash. Then prices went up over 30%. So what should you do when it comes to buying or selling a home right now? Call me. I'll help you with your options and decide what is in your best interest. Overall, people have money. It's not like what you see in the news every day. Go drive the strip any weekday, any time of day. Go to most restaurants in town, any day for lunch or dinner. They're packed. And to be crystal clear, I had multiple offers on 3 listings last week, even went up to $1.9 million. So let me know what you think down below. And if you have any stories that you want me to talk about from real estate agents' perspective, from a Las Vegas local perspective, make sure to reach out to me. And if you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in the Las Vegas Valley, I'd be thrilled to be your real estate resource of choice. Click the button below that says book now, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.